welcome back to the Bogey Whisperer podcast. I'm your host, Tyler, recording this on a Monday. It is around 3 p.m., and I have had copious amounts of caffeine today, so bear with me. I'm going to try and keep this on the rails. I'll be honest, it feels great just to be just humming, you know? You're just kind of buzzing on the caffeine, okay? Sometimes it bites me in the butt, though, and I have too much caffeine, and then I get the caffeine shakes. But right now, feel pretty good. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you're listening or watching this. If you're somehow watching this on YouTube and you don't follow me on Instagram, I don't know how you got here, but go over to Instagram, hit that follow button, go over to TikTok, @bogey.whisperer there, and @bogey_whisperer on Instagram. Because apparently there's some guy on TikTok that has Bogey Whisperer but doesn't post anything. So I'm bogey.whisperer, but it's all right. I have faith in you guys. You should be able to figure that out. So let's just get right into it. I played a ton of golf this weekend. I played 4 times over the course of this week. So let's go back to Wednesday. Played at the Ridge with dear friend of the pod, Duff Dynasty, a.k.a. Johnny Fairways, a.k.a. Johnny Softhands. And we played up at the Ridge. And for those of you that live around here, know the Ridge. It's a really tough course. Probably not the toughest around here, but one of them, I would say. I'll probably do a podcast where I rank the hardest courses in the area, but we'll leave that for another day. So as you can see the scorecard, I shot a 90, which I feel great about. The course, like I said, is very tough. The greens there are always like so fast. Pin placements are always tough. There's always sand traps surrounding these greens. There's like tons of undulations. There's a lot of false fronts and yeah, but it's a cool course. I do like that course. I did have my first ever chip in, and let me tell you, it felt great. It felt amazing because I've been actually really close lately on chip ins, and not that I'm trying to chip it in. I've just been having really good chips that roll like right past the hole or like almost dunking it, which you could argue is not a good strategy. Not that I'm trying to do that, because I do tend to like, when I'm chipping, I don't like see a spot and land it there. I can't do that. I just kind of see the pin and like feel like, oh, I want to land this here. And there's a good amount of times where like I hit the chip and it looks good, but then it lands near the pin and then it rolls out. So I do have to work on that, but I've been getting better. The chipping's been really keeping me in rounds lately. Like my short game's been much better, much better. So had my first chip in, that felt great. And yeah, had to put a snowman on the scorecard. Doesn't feel great. Another part of my game that I can lean on is I don't get in the sand very much. And it's not because I'm so good and I avoid the sand. I think I just get super lucky. Like I'll go like this whole round, I didn't go in the sand one time. Like I'll go rounds without going in the sand, which is good because I'm a terrible bunker player. I'm terrible. So avoid the sand and all will be good. But shot a 90 there. Then on Friday, I had the weekly match with my dad, and I did win that round. I shot a 92, and how many pars did I have? 6 pars, and there was a really rough stretch on the back nine where I went triple and then quadruple bogey, and I want to just kind of tap in to like where my headspace was at that point, because going into those 2 holes, you figure that was on 13 and 14. I was feeling really good about my game, and then it really took a turn on that last half of the back nine or whatever on the back nine. And there's been clips of Xander Schauffele going around talking about sort of how his mental approach is when he's not winning these events, because he's been hunting. He's been in like the top 3, it seems like, every tournament the last like month. And he said something that really resonated with me, which is there's a lot of things on the golf course that you can't control, but the one thing you can control is your attitude. And I don't know why it took me watching that clip for that to click, because it is so easy to come unraveled on the golf course. And trust me, like I've been there. I've thrown clubs, I've thrown hats, we've all been there. We've all been frustrated. It's so hard for me to get mad and then like reel myself out of that mindset. and I came home and I told my significant other, who has to listen about my stupid golf stories all the time as if they matter to her. But like, I came home and she was like, how was golf? And I was like, it was great. I shot a 92. I beat my dad. And I'm honestly most proud that I didn't get mad. Like I went triple, quad, and then double, and then bogey finish. But it was really the triple and then the quad where it was like, I didn't get so mad where like I was totally out of it. Like I really was just like, you know what, man, like you're a bad golfer. You're gonna hit bad golf shots. And that's just a fact. There's just nothing around that. Like you're out there to try and have fun, but you also want to play well. And I can understand that not playing well equals not having fun. But like for anybody out there that is struggling with the mental side of like getting really mad and like getting yourself worked up, because trust me, like I've said it before, like I've been there where I'm just so mad and I'm embarrassed. A lot of it's embarrassment. I get really embarrassed when I hit a bad golf shot. But this whole weekend I played 5 rounds and I really like didn't get mad once. So we're gonna move on from that. The next day, Saturday, played at Turkey Creek and shot an 86, and that was great. That felt so good. And honestly, it's the first time I've ever felt really sore playing golf, where like my lower back hurt, like my shoulders hurt, and like my grip hurt, like my wrists and my forearms were really sore. Like I've never thought that I would be sore from playing so much golf. I only had one shank. Right now, the driver is kind of coming and going, and it came and went, and I was able to deal with it. Here's a statistic from my round at Turkey Creek. Again, I shot an 86. I hit 5 fairways all day. 5. And looking at the scorecard, I was able to get up and down for 8 pars. And I cannot hit a fairway. And when I mean I can't hit a fairway, I mean like I'm hitting the driver really like long. Like I'm finally figuring out how to like hit up on the ball, but I don't really know where it's going. Sometimes I block it left, and other times I feel like I'm aiming straight, and it's just it like starts straight and then just kind of fades like 10 to 15 yards out of bounds, and like there's a lot of trees, and now you're in the woods. It's like if I can just hit a fairway, I feel like I'm right there to being consistently in the 80s. So I'm really proud of this round. And really the worst hole I had was I put a ball in the water on a par 3, got up and down for double, and then got up and down for double. Yeah, that's what we call it. I had another hole where I barely missed the fairway, but I was still in a great lie in the rough, and I hit a shank. It was really tough. I'm pretty sure I got it on camera, so I got a couple shanks coming on the Instagram, but only one shank, and that's fine. Like that's gonna happen. And again, in that moment, it was like, man, I was really humming along. Like my round was like gonna be pretty good, and then I ended up taking a double bogey. I think that was on 17. My scrambling and chipping and putting is really only gonna keep me. It's only gonna keep the double bogeys off the scorecard for so long, and I did a great job of that, and I still ended up with like 3 doubles. So I gotta work on the driver, and I gotta hit more fairways. It's tough to score when I'm constantly having to like hit a punch shot out and then chip on and like 2-putt to save a bogey, or try and 1-putt, which I was doing a decent amount of at Turkey Creek. Okay, last round of the weekend. This was yesterday. Played up at Alta Sierra. We played the front 9. It was kind of tough, to be honest. I was pretty tired from playing all this golf. I think I finished 11 over, and through 9 holes, I hit 0 fairways and 0 greens in regulation, which is frustrating. It's clearly a theme that I get on the tee box and I just can't hit a fairway. On the back 9, there will be a video coming soon. It's a 9-hole scramble with myself and John, kind of an impromptu. It wasn't that random. I brought all the equipment to film. That was super fun. Never really played a scramble. I think I played one. I played one scramble before this, so it was kind of fun just doing something different. Filming for YouTube is a different beast, and I do like filming for YouTube. It's just the juice sometimes is not really worth the squeeze for how much effort it takes to put a YouTube video together, to have it look decent and cohesive, because you got to have the GoPro and then do all the shot tracers and all that stuff. And I did bring the drone, and I wasn't able to take the drone out because we were battling with sunlight, and they also wanted the carts in at a certain time. So that kind of sucks because it was a really dope course at Sunset. It's in the mountains. Or not in the mountains, but there's a lot of elevations. So at some point, I'd like to take the drone out there and film. Let's get to some polls. I asked last week, is cheating in golf okay? And I put cheating in air quotes, basically asking, like, if you're hitting out of a divot, you're playing with your boys, move it out. If your ball is in a dead patch of grass when you barely missed the green, whatever, if you're hitting off a tree root, move it. Pretty much, I would say everybody agreed. I got a decent amount of comments on this, and I'm kind of surprised nobody chimed in and was like, that's not golf. Like, I fully expected for there to be one troll. All right, I did get a question. I played golf with this person over the weekend. I'm not going to say who it is because I'm going to say what they shoot, and I don't want them to feel some certain type of way. They asked, what drills do you do to get better? And I'm going to start by saying I am in no position to be giving golf advice, swing advice, drills advice. Very well documented that I am in no position to be doing that. However, this person that we played with shoots, like, their worst round is like a 140. So I think for a lot of us that go out and play, and I'm trying to break 90, you kind of forget how bad it can be when you're first starting out trying to play golf. And it was a tough scene. Like, he had some really tough shots and some really bad shots, and then he had a couple of good shots. And that's kind of what keeps you coming back. That's what keeps all of us coming back. So I'll answer this with a drill and then just something that I did that changed kind of my perspective on the golf swing. The very first drill I did, and to be honest, I'm not a big drills guy because I don't really have like the equipment, or like, to be honest, if I'm on Instagram and I see some people like, okay, do this drill, it's usually from somebody who's like a scratch golfer. And like, even just the things that they're asking you to do, or like that they're telling you about, like, there's so much distance between the skill level. Like, you know, I'll see some where it's like, you want to feel like you're I don't even know, like your hands are going to your back pocket and your shoulder starts, but then you don't want to start turning to where it's like, it's so far out of my skill level. Like, sometimes it just goes over my head. So that's why I just go and practice and try and practice my own feels and then watch it back on camera and assess from there, because I watch a ton of golf. You know a good golf swing when you see one. The overarching theme of my advice would be record yourself and really analyze, like, why does my swing look different than the ones that I see? And that's probably what's helped me the most, and getting so granular with it. And again, I edit all my videos, so like, I watch me swing badly a lot. Now, to get to the drills, the first drill that I did was putting the like thing in your armpit, like a golf glove or a head cover in your armpit, your right armpit. And what that did for me was realize like how much I was just lifting my arms with the golf club instead of turning and actually rotating. And that really changed, that changed a ton, because before you think you're rotating and then you're just not. And now you realize like, oh, I actually I gotta turn my body. And you almost want to feel, again, I'm not trying to give advice, but just for me, like, I'm using like big muscles to rotate, right? You're not using your arms to rotate. You're really like almost feeling like you're starting your backswing with like your left hand, and that'll activate for me. I start with like my left hand, like I'm pushing the club back with my left hand, and that kind of gets my whole upper body kind of in a good starting position. And then having that close just accentuates that even more. So it'll feel really weird at first. And so you'll practice taking the club back, and that will help you rotate. And then I can't give downswing advice because my downswing right now is really over the top. So I guess just practice swings with that, and that'll at least feel like you're a little more connected and maybe a little bit less like you'll get less flippy with the hands. That's one thing I would advise to this person who asked. Another thing that I did that was a total aha moment was changing my grip, getting to a stronger grip. It's gonna square that club face up more, and you're gonna get the ball off the ground. You're hopefully gonna stop topping it as much and stop trying to like guide the ball at the last second, because as you're coming down, you're trying to square that club face up. So when you're And again, this is something that you'll have to go to the range and just do. Like, you'll just have to do it a bunch of times. And that was one for me that really clicked to at least help me hit the ball and like get it up off the ground. And it's a little bit more consistent, and it feels like you can really move that club. So those are the two things that I would say would be: put a glove or something or a towel under your right armpit and just practice taking swings with that. And then, going to a stronger grip. The only problem is, and I see tons of videos about this, is like, stop your slice, whatever, and they're giving you all this advice. The crux of the problem is like, okay, I can go to a strong grip. If my swing is over the top, I'm just going to block everything left. Everything's going to go left because my swing path is still terrible. It's still way over the top. So just be careful with that. It will at least help you with some consistency. And again, if your worst round, if you're listening to this guy, is like a 140, you have so much room for improvement. Like, your next round, just aim like 15 yards right of everything you're going to hit and just swing your over the top, whatever, with that strong grip. And you're going to hit a lot of stuff straight, because that club face is going to be square. It's going to be straight, but it's going to go left of where you're aiming, and at least you'll be able to at least advance the ball, play just a little bit more consistent. Again, when you're scoring that high, you have a lot of room for improvement. So I hope that helps you a little bit. And when we were playing the other day, I wanted to help this person, but unsolicited golf advice is terrible, especially mid-round. Like, I always hated that when I was playing, and my dad would be like, keep your eye on the ball, keep your head down, which is like kind of good advice, but like also like just let me figure this out. Like, I don't need this. So I didn't want to do that while we were playing, but I hope that helps you. Okay, I want to end with this question that's probably more for the golf sickos like me. If you had to pick one brand to go with, you have Primo or you have Bad Birdie. Which one would you choose? At some point, I'm going to do a podcast where I review their stuff, because I have a lot of both, and I find myself going back and forth between those two brands more often than not when I'm looking to like buy some more polos or, whatever it may be. And also, it does feel like they're kind of competing against each other, because you have Grant Horvat, who is now like a co-owner of Primo, which is really cool. And then you have Bad Birdie that just signed Micah Morris, which is also pretty dope. So either drop a comment, answer the question, and there's going to be a review of both of them coming soon. I got a lot of stuff from both of them, so it should be fun. But let's wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching and listening to this. We'll see you next week. And remember,